Sphinx. The Great Sphinx is a statue of a mythical creature with the body of a lion and the head of a human. It was carved from limestone, and it is likely that it was originally covered with a layer of plaster and colored, and traces of the original colors are still visible next to one of its ears. Located on the Giza Plateau on the west bank of the Nile in Giza, Egypt, the Great Sphinx is also the guardian of the plateau. It is the oldest known colossal sculpture. Its length is about 73.5 meters, including 15 meters the length of its front feet. Its width is 19.3 meters, and its highest height from the surface of the earth is about 20 meters to the top of the head. It is believed that the ancient Egyptians built it during the reign of King Khafra, 2558 BC minus 2532 BC, the builder of the Middle Pyramid in Giza. It is believed that the Sphinx was quarried before King Khafra thought of carving it in the form of a statue, and this statue looks to the east, so the original directions were changed in the last century to match the Sphinx's view. Building. The Great Sphinx is a statue carved from one of the rocks of the Giza Plateau, which also served as a quarry for the Giza pyramids and other monuments in the area. The Nemolite limestone of the region consists of layers with different resistance to wind erosion, which explains the uneven deterioration seen in the body of the Sphinx. The lower body, including the legs, is made of solid rock. As for the rest of the animal's body, up to its neck, it consists of softer layers that have undergone significant disintegration. The layer where the head is sculpted is much harder. It is known that there are a number of blocked-up columns inside and below the body of the Great Sphinx, most likely excavated by treasure hunters and grave robbers before 1925. There was a large recess similar to the one at the top of the Sphinx's head, thought to have been a fixing point for a carved crown or headdress added during the New Kingdom period. Origin and identity. The Great Sphinx is one of the largest and oldest statues in the world, but some basic facts about it, such as when it was built, who built it and for what purpose, are still up for debate. Names. It is impossible to determine the name given to their statue by the builders of the Sphinx, as the Sphinx does not appear in any known inscription of the Old Kingdom of Egypt, and there are no inscriptions anywhere describing its construction or its original purpose. In the Egyptian New Kingdom, the Sphinx is revered as the solar deity Horamake, Arabic, Horus on the horizon, Coptic, Hellenic, Harmachis. The commonly used name Sphinx was given to it in classical antiquity, about 2,000 years after the generally accepted date of its construction. The name Sphinx is a reference to the Greek mythological monster Sphinx with the head of a human, falcon, cat, or sheep and the body of a lion with the wings of an eagle. Although the Great Sphinx, like other Egyptian sphinxes, it has the head of a man and has no wings like the Greek Sphinx. The English word Sphinx comes from the ancient Greek word Sphinx, after the Greek mythological being. Origin and time frame. Despite conflicting evidence and views over the years, the view held by modern Egyptologists still indicates that the Great Sphinx was built around 2500 BC by King Khafra, the builder of the Second Pyramid of Giza. Salim Hassan, writing in 1949 about the recent excavations of the Great Sphinx enclosure, summed up the problem. All things considered, it would seem that we should give credit for the erection of this statue, the most magnificent in the world, to Khafra, but always with this reservation: there is not a single contemporary inscription connecting the Sphinx with Khafre. Therefore, as it may seem, we must treat the evidence as circumstantial, until such time as the roll of luck in the spade will reveal to the world a definite reference to the erection of the Sphinx. The circumstantial evidence cited by Hassan includes the location of the Sphinx in the context of the mortuary complex surrounding the second pyramid, which is traditionally associated with Khafre. Apart from the highway, the pyramid, and the Sphinx, the complex also includes the Temple of the Sphinx and the Valley Temple, both of which display a similar layout for their inner courts. The Great Sphinx Temple was built using blocks cut from the Sphinx's enclosure, while the Valley Temple blocks were quarried from the plateau, some weighing as much as 100 tons. A diorite statue of Khafre, which was discovered buried upside down with other debris in a valley temple, is claimed to support Khafre's theory. The Sphinx stela, erected by King Thutmose IV, connects the Sphinx with Khafre. When the painting was discovered, its texts were damaged and incomplete, and only Khafre was referred to, not Khafre. An excerpt translated: "Which we bring him, oxen, and all the little vegetables, and we will praise Wenifer." Khafre, the statue made for Adam Horamake. Egyptologist Thomas Young, finding the hieroglyph Khafre in a damaged cartouche used to enclose a royal name, inserted the glyph RA to complete Khafre's name. When the stele was re-excavated in 1925, the lines of text referring to Khafre were cut off and broken. Contrary hypotheses. The theories put forth by academic Egyptologists regarding the builder of the Great Sphinx and its construction date are not universally accepted, and many people have proposed alternative hypotheses about both the origin and the date. Early Egyptologists. Some Egyptologists in early excavations at the Giza Pyramid Complex believe that the Sphinx and associated temples predate the rule of the 4th Egyptian dynasty of Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure. Flinders Petrie wrote in 1883 regarding the state of opinion regarding the age of the adjoining temples, and thus of the Sphinx. It has been positively asserted that the date of the granite temple of the Valley Temple was older than the 4th dynasty, so much so that it may seem precipitous to discuss the point. But recent discoveries, however, it strongly shows that it was not actually built before the reign of Khafre in the 4th dynasty. French archaeologist Auguste Mariette, seated far left, and Emperor Pedro II of Brazil, seated far right, with others in the foreground. Sphinx, 1871. In 1857, Auguste Mariette, founder of the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, discovered Sensa stela, estimated to be from the 26th dynasty, circa 664 BC, 525 BC. Although some spaces on the stela are good evidence, which tells how Khufu got to the Sphinx, which is actually buried in the sand. Although some of the spaces on the panel are considered good evidence, this passage has been widely dismissed as a purposeful fake historical adaptation, devised by local priests as an attempt to imbue the contemporary Temple of Isis with an ancient history. Such works became common when religious institutions such as temples, shrines, and priests' quarters they fight for political attention and financial and economic donations. Gaston Maspero, French Egyptologist and second director of the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, conducted a survey of the Sphinx in 1886. He concluded that since the Sphinx panel showed the cartouche of coffer in line 13, he was responsible for the excavation, and therefore the Sphinx must have preceded coffer and his ancestors, perhaps the 4th Egyptian dynasty. The English Egyptologist Wallace Podge that the Sphinx preceded coffer's rule, writing in Gods of the Egyptians, 1914. This wonderful being, the Great Sphinx, existed in the days of coffer, and is probably much older of his reign, and that it dates back to the end of the era of the early Egyptian dynasties. Maspero believes that the Great Sphinx is the oldest monument in Egypt. If you like the video, click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for listening.